നോക്കട്ടെ. ഇപ്പൊ കേൾക്കാമോ? ഇപ്പൊ കേൾക്കാമോ? ഇപ്പൊ കേൾക്കാമോ?
ഇപ്പൊ കേൾക്കാം.
Okay. So, okay. Thank you. Okay. I will start from first. Only one slide I've covered. Thank you. So, concerns in teaching development psychology. So, I just briefed. Hope it is audible to all. Please mute. All of you, please mute. All of you, please mute. Thank you for taking to my attention. So I hope it is audible very well now. Now, this particular MPC2, there's a peculiarity because this is concerning right from conception, I mean, conceiving in utero life starting to the death. So naturally, this is to be covered over and above this MPC2 topic itself. Why? Because some learning will be there. So how learning is taking place, all these things that we'll be studying in MPC3, MPC1, etc. Jasmine Shivadas, anything? You can type it if you have got anything. I hope everything is audible. So I am mentioning, for example, in your text, in one portion, it may be mentioning the last portion of the development theory. So it is based on a development theory. For example, 0 to 1.5, 1.5 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 12, 12 to 18, 18 to 45, 45 to 65, like this it is spread over. So if I am taking 1.5 to 3 alone now, it may not work. So that is why, so please listen to the slides, then you will be clear. I hope if somebody can respond, I think it's audible to everyone. So growth and development. Okay. Growth and development, quantitative versus qualitative. In PG teaching, qualitative is the primary requirement. Physical development, quantitative. For example, at 1.5 years old, what should be the height, weight, etc. That anybody can read and understand. Is spread in the materials or just literature, no teaching is required. Anyone can understand just by reading. However, the particular in utero physical development under 1.3, under middle of the IGNO material, is well explained. That's why even the middle of the what is explained, I am mentioning in the first portion for you to get a clarity. Is well explained in my slides under the pregnancy discussions, which include both male and female basic productive, reproductive anatomy. All concepts like from zygote formation, various in utero development today. This is why, because all these things are must be, you may wonder why this is to be studied by a psychologist. Suppose you are getting an appointment, a posting in a gynecology department. You must know the in utero development. So various other physical developments ex utero are otherwise spread throughout your study material, which is just literature. Please read and understand. So now, this 3-4 slides are introductions about the MPC2, development psychology. Continuity, one is continuity versus discontinuity. It's very simple. Whether 1.3, 0 to 1.3, 3 to 6, likewise, shall there be a demarcation, that is the continuity. Then discontinuity, whether it can be clubbed. So the second is stability of any behavior versus change of it. All this you will be studying in MPC1, MPC3, 4, etc. But the third one, the nature versus nurture, this is not discussed in other portions. So this is to be done in a much detailed way. I am doing it here today. Unlike the first two, if you don't study the third one in detail, that is the nature versus nurture, the whole of psychology counseling you can understand. Hence, done extensively in my work today. For example, in a counseling, you will have to do the nature and nurture concepts without knowing, as if you are teaching. Because a person will understand at the end of this class that you cannot find fault in others, because everyone is nature and nurture. That is why these introductions are given. Now comes cognitive development in infancy, basis of Piaget's theory. Throughout must understand the concept of cognition. Cognition has to be thinking thought process. So it's, you got about 5 theories to be studied. One is psychosexual theory of Freud, psychosocial theory of Erikson, then cognitive theory of Piaget. The issue in teaching the developmental psychology of Freud is that Freud's theory is not mentioned here. Understand? So when Freud's theory is not mentioned here, if I am talking only about the developmental theory, you cannot understand anything. So it is it's a must for me to teach you Freud's theory also. That is why don't wonder why I am taking certain portions for other papers. This is also necessary because I want you to understand. Hence, including detailed discussion on the concept of cognition in the first session itself. Now comes linguistic development. Phonology, semantics, grammar, pragmatics, etc. must understand in a different way. Why? Because you know, many of you may be already doing certain teaching work, etc. You will understand many children will be having learning issues. So how these learning issues can be solved? All this I have to cover. So this linguistic development. So you must listen to all my classes, then only you can understand, because it is a holistic method, only psychology you can study. Hence included under LD discussions is second section connecting your two behavioral theories studied in MPC 3. So that's why MPC 3 portion is also I have to discuss, otherwise you cannot understand. Though it is not my topic this time, though all theories are relevant to treat the same. Certainly, other impairments students can easily make up in similar ways. The stages of development, like that, short to mention throughout the material usually also, but see, unless the student by heart at least the important theories thoroughly, it is not possible to understand the topic or to practice, because any client also come under in any of the developmental stages. Again, psychosexual, I was mentioning, psychosexual, psychosocial, cognitive are spread throughout the material. So best to learn the important theories initially itself for better understanding and connectivity throughout. Hence, third, fourth, and fifth classes are exclusively covered with these portions. So don't get confused why I am taking portions from other papers or why I am taking the last portion first time. This is to make you understand only. Under mental retardation, in my material 4.4, page 51, that is the material I have. It's following the same material, maybe one set or 5 set makes difference. So there is just a mention of chromosomal disorders. I wish to cover in detail all developmental disorders. If not all for examination, will be helpful to get a job and deal various issues of clients. So for convenience and better understanding, due to the above set particulars of this particular subject, portions are covered in this fashion. I'm sure once all my 10-hour classes are over, you wouldn't have any doubts. Development domains are complex. Domains of human development. The domains of development are categories used by scientists. The categories include physical, cognitive, and social domains, which all characterize human development. The physical domain is characterized by how humans grow and change physically at all stages of development, especially during childhood to adolescence. See, why I am telling you is that I mentioned you, 0 to 1.5. That's immediately after birth to 1.5, 1.5 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 12, 12 to 18. That is right from birth to adolescence. So it's all very important. When physical changes are maximum, this domain includes how humans view the world as developmental progresses, the result of physical growth and interaction. So development in printed matter is a mistake. So that's why I mentioned physical growth I have mentioned here. So introduction will be over in another 2 slides. Psychological domain focuses on adjustment of the individual to the environment. Adjustment is the process which is essential for survival of the organism. The child has to learn to suck, ingest food, eliminate, breathe, and own, eliminate, own, etc. Which activities were taken care of when the child was still within the mother's womb. That's what. 5 types of learning is taking place in a child within the mother's womb. That is the important thing. Movement, that you will see all these slides. Movement, listening, vision, taste, and cognition. Taste how? Because at this stage, the child is sucking the mother's amniotic fluid. Then start breathing, lung function by herself or himself. So adjustment also is required as a child grows up to learn to eat on, eliminate as is required, and not as a child wishes. Why? There should be a protocol. The child is to be sent to the school, to public places. So all these things are very important. The child has to learn to talk, walk, express, communicate, and so on. So healthy adjustments of the child is very important. Are expected to build an ideal citizen. So very important. So why I am covering learning theories also here? Learning theory I need not have to teach because it's a part of MPC 3. But I have to, or MPC 4 is also there. I have to teach a little portion of this. Otherwise, you cannot understand why the child learning is to be taken care of. So the child learning can be taken care of right from the mother's womb as well as after birth. So adjustment to self, others, and environment are important tasks which become increasingly complex as a child grows up, and which all the child has to master and accomplish. Success leads to healthy adjustment, while failure leads to maladjustment. Adjustments in the way the world is viewed as the body develops are also included in this domain. Cognitive domain focuses on learning, attention, perception, and memory. So because the memory comes, why the memory comes? After all my 10 classes, when you start reading, you will understand why I am taking all the pain for this. For example, you would learn in Piaget's cognitive theory, by 9th month, object permanence is a must. Because, for example, a child who is not searching for a toy that the child was playing till now, there is some problem the parents should understand. So when you give training, so whether the cognition of the child is perfectly all right or not, the memory, encoding, storing, retrieving, etc. starts immediately after birth. By 9th month, the child should have that quality of encoding, storing, retrieving, etc. See, a child born is not coming out without knowing anything. Child knows many faculties. I told you, the listening, taste, vision, movement, and locomotion. And we'll see in the slides, locomotion as well as cognition. So the manner in which learning takes place and how the child make progress in school, concept of development, growth and development, lifespan perspective, methods of studying development, and characters of development, prenatal, infancy and childhood, and at home are of great importance in the child's growth. How these components of cognitive domain functions and improves indicate the progress of the child. The progress that what do you want? The progress. By the time the child is 3, you must be able to send the child to the play school. If there is some problem, immediately the gynecologist or neonatologist, whoever, is to be consulted, or including child neurologist, etc. That is why this much knowledge you should have. The social domain deals with the adjustment of the people that are with others and learn the right way of interaction. So development theory says at 1.5 to 3, how should a child behave? The cognitive domain is concerned with how learning occurs and why memory deteriorates during old age. That is right. Because this is not right from conception to death. So in the old age, why dementia, Alzheimer's, etc. All these are to be covered. You should understand we are given 10 hours only. In a regular college, it is 80 hours. So I am trying to cover all important portions. The social domain contains adjustment in variables within social situations such as personality research, social skills, and development relationship. All the domains operate together and are affected by each other. Changes occur from conception to death. A self-thought, usually in family status, income, position, everything matters, isn't it? Consider whole of India now. That is why you must be able to work in the society. You should understand the social status of many people, but the theory remains the same. So what to remediate? If you don't know the course, you get instructional paradigms built on faulty assumptions. I'll just brief what it is. Suppose you have got a nail that is to be placed on a wall. The wall is so cemented that it won't go inside. If you try with your ordinary tools like a hammer, it will not work. You should know whether you should have a drill to start with, or you should have some other tools to fix it easily. That is, if you do not know what you will do, with whatever available knowledge you will pull out. That is not the requirement. So you are doing a PG psychology, you should have clear knowledge about all this. That's what I meant. So just to introduce, I am Dr. P. Jayachandran. I'm a academic counselor, IGNO, RC Kochi. Since it is being recorded, no personal talk is expected. You can definitely take my number and ask personally if you have got any doubts. So I'm sure after completion of the 5 classes, 10 hours, you won't have any doubts in this topic. So the nature, technically the formation of zygote. So I am asking question and I myself is answering, because with all these 77 students or so, asking a question and getting answer may not be possible. So I'm just asking a question, what is the first cell in the mother's womb? Very few may be knowing that it is zygote. That is sperm as contributed by the father and egg as contributed by the mother. That is the first cell. So now that is permanent. What is important? Why it is called nature? That is Prakriti or God, whatever. Why it is said the genetic wiring is permanent? You know, the 23 pair chromosome as received from mother and father. So that is permanent. That is what we are telling, that this is called nature. Now the nurture. So just I gave just briefed 5 faculties the child is learning: the movement, listening, sight, cognition, etc., etc., taste, etc. So the nurture starts. Maybe in your text it is written after the birth. May you follow that for your examination. But with all the experience, I would say the nurture starts from the mother's womb. Nurture is the process of learning one makes right immediately from formation of zygote, to begin from the absorptions of the thought of mother, and more widely the total vibration of embryo received. That in the following discussion you will know what are the studies done. Maybe it is not covered in your book. That is Neonatology Institute of Ireland made a lot of studies and confirmed that the baby is learning from the mother's womb. Once the baby comes out, it continues the learning with primary caregivers, peers, society, and so on. In short, the nurture ends only with the graveyard. That is what. The nature means the first cell, including genetic, is there. The 23 pair chromosome. Then every chromosome, there are umpteen genes, including why you look different. That is why if the police get a hair piece, he may be able to test the DNA and locate the criminal. Why? Because that is a nature. That's a genetic wiring is there. So genetic wiring, certainly it is applicable to behavior too. It's a common logic. So then comes the nurture. So in short, nurture ends only with graveyard. So just asking, not I'm not seeking an answer from you because limited time. That's why. With simply studying psychology from the first day itself, you must be able to get some quality in life, quality in behavior. So let us start. A simple, I'm not discussing, I'm just asking and I'll give you answer. I myself, you may be knowing answer. I'm telling you, if everyone in this world There is 900 crore in the world population, 150 crore in India. You just imagine if the nature and nurture of every person for the behavior, is he responsible, or to what extent he is responsible? Why? Because the genetic wiring is taking place as contributed by the mother as egg and sperm as father. Then from the mother's thought itself is getting influenced, and once the child is coming out, the grandparents, etc., are nurturing. Then it goes to school, peers, then till today you are getting new knowledge, few new knowledge. It's also nurturing. So I'm just asking you, ask yourself, can we find fault in another person? See, it's a great thing after studying psychology on the first day, if you determine and take a decision that I should not find fault in others. It will be very great now. Such a knowledge you are getting from the first psychology class. So you will be studying this by second year practical and all that. Locus of control, internal locus of control versus external locus of control. The tests, everything are there that you will learn. At that time, you remember you cannot find fun. If the moment you decide that sound is breaking in between, somebody is telling if it is applicable to all. I don't know what is the reason.
No, sir.
Maybe net issues of that particular person. Okay. Uh, It's breaking for everyone.
No, sir. No, sir.
No, it's clear, sir. It's clear.
Okay.
Sound is clear.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now the thing is that please try to understand. Just by learning the first day in half an hour, you learned a new thing. That is, everyone is nature and nurture. It's contributed by the parents and nurtured in the mother's womb, as also as when the child comes out, nurtured by the grandparents. Then the peers. Then go to school. You are getting nurtured even from today's class. So take a decision that maybe if somebody does a mistake against the law, he'll be punished by the court, etc., etc. But shall we find fault in another person? So that alone is good enough to improve your personality. Thank you. So let me continue. So technically, answer to the question who you are. So somebody is asking who you are, you would say I'm so and so, so and so, I'm doing so and so, that is my profession, or my parents are so. But technically it is nature and nurture. A person means it's a nature and nurture, n plus n. So another task from today onwards, the like dislike phenomenon in psychology. That's when a client is coming to you. What I'm telling you, sir, after the classes, you should start at least taking some tuition. It's possible for you. So everything will add to the counseling skills. So a client might be coming to you with a half sad and half happy, or almost 90% sad, or in a smiling face. Your duty is to see that you yourself is change both these first two faces, change to the third one. Hope you understood. Thank you. After the first cry, till end of 6 months, the child cries many times, often to express its likes and dislikes against delicious taste, cuddling, whenever happy, etc. Again, pain, illness, sorrowful, fearful images, etc. respectively. This means before the child is able to produce meaningful sounds to express like or dislike, just imagine the child is able to express likes and dislikes by 6 months or so. Just imagine. But even before that, a clear foundation stone of like and dislike is placed in the child's brain. So that is why, right from the first day, or even from the pregnancy, why the mother should be happy, have good thoughts, and after the child is coming out, the child must be a happy child. So what all efforts that the parents and in-laws have to do, have to do. Okay, I hope you are clear about this. So this is over. Now, this is the in utero life. In utero life, I'm just covering it. So I think you can see the pictures, the baby, mother and the baby. So, you know, it is 9 days, 9 months and 9 days. See, again, the prenatal, before natal, ovulating to birth. If I am asking you in the direct classes, I used to ask the students, what is a preposition? The people will be telling example in that, between, etc. It is not like that. It's preposition. Likewise, prenatal. So it is 280 days. It's given the book, that is 9 months, 9 days. But just for your information, in Bharata, we say it as 10 months. Why it is that? Because we take the Chandra calendar, Chandra Masa, lunar calendar. When you take the lunar calendar, it is perfectly all right. 28 into 10. Otherwise, it is 29 into, sorry, 30 into 9 plus 9 days. Then comes the cognition. I'm just telling you the one word I'm trying to familiarize, because many times the cognition will come. Cognition of the child. Cognition means, suppose this is a cylinder, left side cylinder. So you can see, uh, suppose you have got a pet. Make you understand what is cognition. Suppose you have got a pet. This is psychology. Many times throughout your studies, you will come to know what is cognition. It is not simply the thoughts. Suppose you have got a pet. They uh, pet, since pet is so lovable to you, you may serve food at the veranda or in the drawing room, etc. But you come to know that that pet is making trouble there, making the place dirty. What the decision you will be taking? What decision you will be taking? You'll be taking a decision not to serve food to this animal, though it is pet. Let us serve it in the backside of the house. So is here, in throughout the psychology study, you will learn stimulus and response. Stimulus means even a looking at a person is a stimulus, or throwing a chalk piece is a stimulus. So whatever stimulus here, the dog or the cat got a stimulus. You write here, try to write, understand, no food all the place, because you decided not to serve the food to the pet in the drawing room. So no food all the place. Naturally, from the next day onwards, or very next day, or not 2 3 days, it cannot expect food any other places. It can expect food only in the place that you have earmarked at the back of the kitchen also. So it will naturally go there. So here it's only a stimulus response. Suppose it's a cylindrical piece. If you put a stone here, it will come down. So in the brain of the person, this is a very, very important thing you should understand. The cognition of the child, cognition of an adolescent, how it differs. The cognition of the child, or an adolescent, whatever, in a human or Homo sapien, there should be a stimulus. A person must be able to assess with the senses, assimilate with the brain, and respond. Now, from the very little time, I mean, just 40 minutes I have taken, you can very easily understand. 0 to 1.5, 0 to 1.5, child is just born. The stimulus, assessing with the senses are very poor. Assimilation with the brain is still very poor. So response also you cannot expect. But how a 3-year child should understand the stimulus, assess the senses, assimilate with the brain, and respond, that you know. There's a common sense to it. So based on that, if you study the theory scientifically, Piaget's theory, you will come to know how easily you can understand the expected stimulus, expected assessment with senses, expected assimilation with the brain, and respond. For example, a grown-up person, many females are there. I'm just telling an example to understand what is cognition. A female is standing in front of in a bus stop shelter. Somebody is misbehaving with less behavior and all that. You can easily understand. So you may decide whether to call other people and prevent him, or to go to police, or to report to police, or escape from there. So all these, depending on the stimulus, the way you assess with the senses, assimilate the brain, and respond. Likewise, you must be able to understand the growth and expected assessment, assessing with the senses, assimilating with brain, and respond. Hope you are very clear. That is the importance of studying developmental psychology, whether there is any development lag, or you can promote to a better development. That is purpose. Suppose a child is very smart, how can you think about updating his knowledge in a better way? Or if there are any university in US and all that, this person is outstanding, why can't we send to there without even writing, that, without even writing 10th or 12th, he may be taken to some scholarship examination. It's all possible based on, so, unless there is a study development theory of Jean Piaget, you cannot understand this. I'm just giving a base of this. Jean Piaget's theory also I'll be teaching. So all this I've explained. So male genitalia, etc., everything you should study in detail later, including the menstrual cycle. All these things you should know in detail, maybe due to lack of time. For example, in the male genitalia, suppose the cognition, suppose a counseling case is coming, whether suppose a couple has come, whether both families are fighting, saying that male has to do the vasectomy, female has to do the tubectomy. Both are cowardly. So how can you convince? So many people may be thinking that vasectomy is painful, or for doing gens, or there should be some abnormality, or any health issue that you must be able. That's why, like a medical doctor, you should know everything. You should be able to teach that just cutting or puncturing the vas deferens where the sperm is coming, that alone is cut. Nothing is happening to the genitalia. Likewise, you should have very good knowledge. Like in menstrual cycle, etc., is giving this follicle FSH. Sometimes for examination, FSH is asked, follicle stimulating hormone. Then what is luteinizing hormone? All these things you should. First phase is follicular phase. At that time, follicle stimulating hormone. What is follicle? Follicles means small balls, boils. Why? It's a bed. It's a bed for the baby to lay. So it is expecting a sperm. When even after 14 days, then it is not receiving a sperm. Whatever bed is prepared, that is follicles prepared in the womb, sorry, in the uterus. So that has to be removed. That is coming out as blood and all the structure. So you should be able to know clearly that this is a divine process, not to be ridiculed. Likewise. So the joining of the egg, all these things you have to study in detail. So again, certain things, especially in the less educated cases, this I have discussed. But suppose why you should study all this in detail, much more than the book given to you. For example, in uneducated people suppose a lady is delivering first child, the second child, even after a trial, third child is coming as female. Usually, the female is ridiculed, saying that this girl is able to deliver only females. Is it true? It is not true. Why? Because the females have got only X. Female can give only X. That is a 23 pair. 23 pair we have discussed here. 23 from mom, 23 from dad. So here sex is definitely decided by the dad only. The mother can give only X in any case. So if Y is coming, the boy, or if a female can give only X, male can also can give either X or Y. Suppose male is giving X, again female. So the female is not responsible for this. All this education you must be able to know. Sometimes some questions will come for the examination. You refer to the older questions. Something you will be able to write from this also. Now, first trimester, the early pregnancy. Mostly much beyond what is taught by me, much beyond what is taught in your book, you must be able to study. Then only you can become a good counselor. So early pregnancy, weeks 1 to 13. Most critical stage because all major organs begin to form. That is why the first trimester, the doctor advises don't travel at the back of bike and all that. Baby now receives good and harmful substances from the mother through the umbilical cord. The heartbeat can usually be seen around 6 weeks via ultrasound and heard through 9 weeks via Doppler. Changes in mark. So you have to immediately go for the first visit. Should not delay. Now, placenta. Well, so sometimes all these things are short notes you may have to write. Placenta, organ filled with blood vessels that nourishes the baby in the uterus. Umbilical cord connects the baby to the placenta, nourishes baby, removes waste. Now, I'm just asking a question and you just try to answer there. Don't have to unmute and tell because it's not a platform for discussion. Uh, so you can definitely ask any doubts from the, you can definitely come to my personal WhatsApp and ask me. But now let us cover maximum portions. So I'm just telling you about till 8 week, that's almost 1.5 months. What will be the size of the baby? You may think it's just a fingerful. No, it is just 1/10 of an inch. It is just 1/10 of an inch. By the end of the first month, or even up to 1.5 months, the embryo is about 1/10 of an inch long. The heart, which is no longer than a poppy seed, has begun beating. While scanning, you can see just a spot, but you should understand all this, the brain, lungs, all these portions, all these organs start growing, start functioning. That is why the child is learning from the mother's womb. So by 9 to 12 week, the embryo is about 1/4 inch long and has distinct, slightly webbed fingers. Veins are clearly visible. The heart is divided into right and left chambers. See, all this development is taking place in the baby. All these developments are taking in the baby. Now, second trimester, comparatively safe. See, here is the importance. Quickening occurs. Mother feels the baby move from the first 4th to 5th month to 16 to 20 weeks. Or to 16 to 20 weeks. Referred as the best time in the pregnancy, mom. Because certain moments that the mother can feel. The gender can be detected around week 20. It is not allowed, as you know. Now baby begins to hear. It's a very important knowledge. So based on this, Hepburn Institute of Ireland started studying it through ultrasound. The mother's sound, the mother's song, etc., is delivered to the child. So you know what happens. You know, just follow the other slides. 13 to 16, by now the fetus is 1 inch long. That is 3 months, and is fully formed, has begun swallowing and kicking. All organs and muscles have formed and beginning the nutrition. Why all these things you should know when it's coming to the counseling? I'm just telling you. See, the first trimester, the child is 1/10 of the inch or maximum 2/10 of an inch, less than an inch. Now, suppose you are posted in gynecology, you will be asked to do some counseling. Now we learned many things wrong. For example, the moment the girl is becoming pregnant, others will say, now you would have heard it. You have to take food of 2 people because one person is inside. See, in the first trimester, no additional micronutrient is necessary. Folic acid, iron, multivitamin, everything is required. Because you have cognition. That's what I'm telling. Cognition means you must be able to have knowledge to have the cognition. Why in the first trimester no additional macronutrient is necessary? No rice, wheat, additional. If the mother is not in underweight or no such macronutrient is required. Micronutrient, the doctors will prescribe folic acid, multivitamin, iron, etc., etc., etc. So that is to be given. So technical knowledge is there. The first trimester, child is too small, no macronutrient is required. So here, the second trimester, what happens is that there is a 4 months. The second trimester, what happens is that 350, that it is not in your parlance, but you should have a general knowledge about it. That's what, like a medical doctor, you should have a knowledge that is a 350 calorie than the usual. All this different area, still you should have a common sense. So 5 months, so sometimes it is asked, what is vernix? A protective coating called vernix begins to form on baby skin. By the end of this month, your baby will be about 7 inches long and weigh about half pound. So 6 months, eyebrows and eyelids are visible. Your baby's lungs are filled with amniotic fluid and has started breathing motions. That is why the child is getting taste also from this. So why you should know all these things? Even suppose you are working in a hospital or so, why the other person should come for scanning on particular time prescribed by the doctor? This is because whether the doctor must be able to know whether the growth is taking place or not. So land you go. All these things sometimes it is asked for examination also. By end of the 7th month, his body is well formed. Fingernails cover his fingertips. Mother may feel cracks and hicks, contractions. It's not a pain, it's a contraction. Need not have to worry at that time. It's not a pain, it's a contraction. So 8 month, your baby is gaining about half a pound per week and layers of fat are piling on. He has probably turned head down and prepared for birth. See here, third trimester, that is by 8th month. Oh, sorry, by 7th month. So now you should understand when you practice, suppose why you study this development psychology from the childhood onwards. Suppose a child may be having a schooling problem, not able to understand, not getting good marks. Sometimes some parents might come and report to the psychologist as experienced that, sir, my child was preterm baby. The child was born at 8 months. Child was born at 8 months. Some disturbance, sorry. So maybe that could be the reason, my child is not performing good in the school. That is wrong. Why? Because please try to understand age of viability. Here it is written, age of viability. Age of viability means the sometimes due to high BP and all that, doctor will evaluate everything after scanning whether the brain growth, everything is okay. After that only, maybe before 7 months also, the doctor may decide for the safety of the child as well as the mother to take cesarean. So the doctors will be advising the parents that child may not be exchanged frequently, should be away from the humidic conditions. Why? Because the lung development that you learn, lung development takes place by 8.5 months only. That is why respiratory illnesses may take place. So otherwise, brain is perfectly all right. Whatever brain growth, expected brain growth at 9th month, that has already taken place by 7th month. The child will not have any problem. Maybe child may be weighing 1.5 kg, size may be very less. But you know, the nature and nurture we studied. What is the nature we studied? The first cell in the mother's womb zygote, it is 23 pair and chromosomes. So 23 pair chromosome and genes. So the height is also decided by genes. So the normal height, everything the child will acquire. So it's all that's why here also you are getting nurtured now. This is the important thing. So again, the learning theory. You will study the learning theory. At that time, you will come to know how everything is learned. So the child is also learning. Many times the mother may be telling, my child is preterm. That is why the child may not be having intelligence. That is why the child is going poor in the class. So the child is listening this every time. Naturally, child will take an excuse. Child will take an excuse. So all these things, unless otherwise you do not have this knowledge, how will you correct it? So from today onwards, I'm telling you, read maximum material, not alone depending on me or the ignorant material alone. Gather maximum knowledge in every subject, all the 9 purpose. Hope it is clear to you. So 7 months. So then 8 months. That is why all this movement I'm telling you, many movements are taking place in the body. So your baby gains more weight. That's end 40. So all this you can understand. Now I'm just showing week by week just for your knowledge. I hope you can see. I'm just moving the slides just for you to understand. By 27th, see, in 8 months you saw this picture. So by 27th week, usually the child is keeping the downward position. So beautiful pictures. So the question is whether, just as an ice break, whether our forefathers knew it. I will explain the meaning in English also because it's written in Sanskrit and Malayalam. So I'm just reading it just as in the importance of the preciousness of the motherhood. Why the mother is that precious? In MPC 2, that's also very important, not alone child, the mother also. So our Shankaracharya has written this. I'll explain in Malayalam, it's a Sanskrit, Malayalam, as well as in English. Astam tavadiyam, astam tavadiyam prasvudi samaye durvara vyatha nairuchyam tanishoshanam malamayi shayacha samvalsari ekasyapi garbhabara kleshasya yasya kshamo dadum nishrati munnado api tanayasya janane namaha. Then I will just the Malayalam translation is there already by Kodungalur Kunjukuttan Tamburan. So after that I will explain it in English also. നിൽക്കട്ടെ പേറ്റുനോവിൻ കഥ രുചികുറയും കാലമേറും ചടപ്പും പൊയ്ക്കോട്ടെ കുട്ടിയിടേണ്ട മലമതിലൊരു കൊല്ലം കിടക്കും കിടപ്പും നോക്കുമ്പോൾ ഗർഭമാകും വലിയ ചുമടെടുക്കുന്നതിൻ കൂലി പോലും തീർക്കാവൽ എത്ര യോഗ്യൻ മകനും അതു നിലയ്ക്കുള്ളൊരമ്മേ തൊഴുന്നേൻ. Yes, people knew it earlier also from centuries back. Shankaracharya has written the Malayalam that you'll be knowing now. I'm telling you the meaning in English. Forget about the pain. I mean, giving birth, the pain of giving birth. Forget about this because once you decided, you have to. But പൊയ്ക്കോട്ടെ കൂട്ടിയിടേണ്ട മലമതിലൊരു കൊല്ലം കിടക്കും കിടപ്പ്. You know, umbilical cord, placenta, everything. All these toxins. Who has to remove? The mother has to remove. Mother maybe having edema, a lot of pain and all that. Forget that also. It's all part of childbirth. നോക്കുമ്പോൾ ഗർഭമാകും വലിയ ചുമടെടുക്കുന്നതിൻ കൂലി പോലും. So you are seen as I got just a gram. Slowly in the first trimester also just 1/10 of an inch, but slowly in each and every organ is developing, including amniotic fluid, it is around 4 kg, 4.5 kg. Child may weigh less than 3 kg. So all this നോക്കുമ്പോൾ ഗർഭമാക്കും വലിയ ചുമടെടുക്കുന്നതിൻ കൂലി പോലും തീർക്കാവല്ല എത്ര യോഗ്യൻ മകനും അത് നിലയ്ക്കുള്ള ഒരു അമ്മയെ തൊഴുന്നേ. Shankaracharya is actually folding his hands and this Madhura Panchakam. So what you should understand by this, after learning psychology, you must be able to proud to tell others that why. This is because now you know your own parents, parental figures, mothers, mother-like people, any elder, or to anyone. You should show every respect because to come into this world, somebody has taken all the pain. Hope you appreciated it. Let me take 2 minutes to take a pata and we'll continue the learning thing. So the learning thing, so I'm covering that much portion, but I'm taking additional portions because otherwise you cannot understand the learning. So when it comes to 1.3 to 6, so sorry, okay, 1.3 to 6 to 12 and all that, the learning comes. Why this learning is important in nurturing, you should understand the Pavlovian theory. That is also taught in 1.3 in detail, but I'm just briefing with the limited things. Okay, please listen, please wait. It may take little while. Why I am covering this in detail is that in MPC, when you study MPC 3 as a part of your personality theories and development, here that theory is to be used in the nurturing of a child or an adolescent or a grown-up person or even a geriatric person. Even a geriatric person. We will discuss in detail. Then you will come to know. So that is why it's a holistic study. When you complete all your second year with all 9 papers, taking all the efforts, you will be having skills. If I just cover without any explanation, just same portion, you will be nowhere. So the learning process, what is the importance of nurturing of a child, adolescent, youth, a person who is seeking for employment, or in the case of a geriatric person, how the behavior can be changed. That is the important thing. So unless there is a study and club with the development theory, you cannot understand. So I'm telling you, anybody coming to your place, anybody coming to see you as a psychologist, what you have to give to the person? Attainment or acquisition. Attainment or acquisition. So for example, in the developmental psychology, when a child is growing, you have to teach the child the etiquettes. Etiquettes means the manners. So you, when the child, that's what I'm telling you in the first slides itself, it said not simply nurturing the child, nurturing expected to be an ideal citizen, expected to the ideal citizen, isn't it? Ideals to prepare a person as ideal citizen, you need attainment or acquisition process to be given to a child, and the child has to have, for example, toilet training. Toilet training is to be given for what? The defecation. Tomorrow, that behavior should not be a trouble in the school bus or in the public place or after reaching the school. So once in a while it happens, the ayah will take care of. But every day, out of 40 students, all the 40 students are behaving that way, the ayah will be in a difficult position. So that is a very important thing, attainment or acquisition process. Then comes whatever good behavior is taught, it should be retained. Then the behavior production process means something that has good and both positive and negative. Behavior production process means, so anything conducive should be promoted, anything detrimental should be punished. That is the behavior production process. Then reinforcement and motivational process. The reinforcement and motivational process is something that will take place as what? That will take place as a result of your modulation. Now, this is concerning a child. When it comes to an adolescent, the child is not studying the classes, not studying the portion, homework, not doing the homework. Here also you have to do the same attainment or acquisition process. The child has to retain that behavior every time, till such time the psychologist is seen by the child is okay. Can the client come every day to psychologist? No. For a therapy or for a counseling, 5 days or 10 days maximum. After that, the child has to retain. Okay. I can make it full screen. Only thing is, I just want to see your face also. No problem. So I'm requesting you, as far as possible. Maybe you are working at many places. You are using mobile. For better understanding, if possible, you sit in front of a computer. Okay. Now, as requested by you, I'm making it full screen. So the attainment or acquisition process is a condition that you have to attain something in a child, and that has to be retained. Then behavior production process, whatever achieved, the negative has to be curtailed, the positive is to be promoted. Then reinforcement or motivational process means the benefit of this. Now, when it comes to adolescent, a child is not doing well in the school. Suppose a child is not doing well in the school. So not doing homework, the child is making a lot of spelling mistakes. That is adolescence means 12 to 18 year. 12 means 6 years. What is the importance of this? I'm just tilting it because I just want to see whether people are there or is there any disturbance to the screen. So this process I'll be doing. So why the importance of this? I told you. So this is a practical. From now onwards, I took almost theory for 1 hour. Now it is a practical linked class. You should understand and appreciate it. It's a practical linked class of what we have studied. I told you 0 to 1.5, 1.5 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 12, 12 to 18, 18 to 45, 45 to 65, and then onwards. That is the base of the developmental continuity or discontinuity, whatever. That is the breakup or continuation. So in this case, 1.0 to 1.5 means the child is in a playful manner. Only the safety of the child is more concerned. But I told you, you will learn in Piaget's theory, object permanence, a very important thing. That is by 9th month, the child will be having, suppose a child is not able to see the toy which the child was playing, child will search for this. So why this place are given? If the child, even after 1 year, the child is not searching, that means child, you have to doubt whether the child has got any problem with the memory. So that what is memory also I'll be teaching on another day. Then retention process, whatever good behaviors are being taught, even after 1 year itself, or the child by 1/4 child will be running, walking, and all that. At that time also, you can think about start giving toilet training, the importance of toilet training. So when toilet training is given, the child is able to do that process. Whenever defecation, that call is coming, whether the child is searching or asking for the toilet tray. Very important. Then behavior production process. Behavior production means positive behaviors are to be promoted. Negative, because child is always quarreling. That's a negative process. Suppose you are pampering and spoiling, the child will have that behavior. Suppose a child pamper, your child is pampered even after 1 year for each and every demand. That is a big problem. So how will you study this? You can study this through the Pavlovian theory. Pavlovian theory you have to study in a different perspective with the MPC 3. Here I'll be covering the importance with regard to the nurturing of a child. That's why I'm telling you the practical portion of the theory that I've studied with the use of two learning theories. I'm trying to prove and help you and start practicing. Behavior production process is a condition that you must be able to promote expected behaviors and stop the negative behaviors. The reinforcement or motivation process means both the child and parents become comfortable. Now, up to now 0 to 1.3, 0 to 1.5, 1.5 to 3, 3 to 6. 3 to 6 means play school to first standard, isn't it? Play school to first standard. So when it comes to plus to first standard, the child started going to school. So all these good behaviors, 3 years, not a big small thing. Third year, the child is in the play school, then LKG, UKG. So by that time, child has learned a lot, nurtured a lot. So whether the positive nurturing is important or not. So defecation, all these things, behavior, listening to the teacher, doing small homework, etc., etc., the child has to attain. Then that has to be retained. Suppose every day the mother has to promote, sit with the child for every time. The child must be taught in such a way that child reports to the mother. These are the things that I have to do by first standard. That is 6 to 12. You should understand. So when I'm talking to you without looking at the screen, I will come back to this just because I just want to see some faces of you also. So you should understand. Now 6 to 12, what happened? 6 to 12. So please try to understand. I taught you till birth through slides, explained the nature-nurture concept. Now I am talking to you how a learning in child takes place. What you can do with every stage. So 0 to 1.3, 1.5, 1.5 to 3, 3 to 6, all this 3 to 6 when it is discussed, 3 to 6 when it is discussed, child is going to school, play school, LKG and UKG. So many behaviors, how you should behave to the peers, especially when child abuse, everything is very common nowadays. The child abuse, how can be prevented? All this training you have to do. You, the mother, even you give a training, because now a lot of opportunities for psychologists if you study all these things and become a good trainer for the parents, how to nurture a child, all this. Now, what is the importance of 6 to 12? 6 to 12, you should, I will be taking in detail later, but to brief and understand the first day itself, the importance of studying all those things. 6th year means first standard. 6th year means first standard. 12 year means 6th standard. So, if you take the state syllabus, CBSE or ICSE, whichever, or Oxford, all the basic things of language, grammar, science, including mathematics, is being taught to a child within 12 years. Any teacher is there, they can respond by through signal, am I right or not? This is because, why this is important? From LKG to 6th standard means the child is getting all the bases. Now, what happens otherwise? You just write in mind 1 to 1 dash 100. You will come to know teen comes from 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So, teen is over. Nowhere you can see teen in 1 to 100. So, that is the adolescence. That is why the importance of 6 to 12. 6 to 12, unless the child is nurtured in such a way, good behavior, good and academics and socialization. What is academics and socialization? Unless otherwise you give both academics as well as social skills on how to behave till 6th standard. Because females by 10th year, 11th year, getting period, get menses and all that. So that behavior, how to behave, how should, not to threaten the child, not to make any fear in the child, how the child should take care of. All this education should be given to the child, and also the academics. What, just imagine, if you agree, you can respond. You disagree also, you can respond through other signs. Okay? I don't want you to talk because we have limited time only. Now, the thing is that you see 13 to 19, the teenage. You just imagine, suppose a child is bad in acquiring academic skills as well as social skills. Academic skills and social skills, when the child is expected to acquire 6 to 12 years. 6 to 12 years, first standard to 6th standard. Suppose that is not acquired, academic, bad, poor marks, not able to reproduce things and all that. Behavior is also very bad. It's again, these are all nurtured by the society, the school, and the parents. That is the nature and nurture concept I told you is very important. How can you expect a good citizen? The child is bad in academics as well as in social skills and getting to teenage. What is the importance of teenage? Teenage means hormonal period. The boy become a man and girl become a woman. How? My question is this. You can respond. How? My question is this. Suppose a child is poor by reaching the 12th year, 6 to 12. Suppose the child is poor in academics as well as social skills, behavior, etc., etc., etc. How can you expect the child to become a good citizen or to become a good adolescent in teenage because of the hormonal play? That much hormones are playing in the body. What do you think? Can the child be a good citizen? If the first standard to, that is 6th year to 12th year is spoiled. Suppose the first standard, that is 6th year to 12th year is spoiled. Can you expect a good adolescent, then a citizen in the teenage? Can you? So that is the importance. Hope you understood the importance of this. Now comes this 18 to 45. 18 to 45 means it's a condition. It's a condition that a person must be able to go to the professional way of learning. Okay, fine. I saw this. Good. Now the thing is that you should understand a child by adolescence must be able to acquire very good skills. Unless this child acquires very good skills, what will happen? You cannot get a good profession, good career, good job. That is why it's a period that the 12 to after 18 to 45 period, lot of establishment of meaningful relationships. Establishment of meaningful relationship is the learning. That is, he has to acquire a professional qualification, seek a job, find a partner, new relationships, new society, new family, new community, etc. etc. So that a person most productive period, that is the importance. See, now our nation is also growing. So the talent of the citizen and individual, most sprouting period, lot of contribution that a person can give to the society by skill and knowledge and intelligence. See, unless we study all these things in detail, what is the use of studying developmental psychology? So you must be able to nurture such a citizen, a responsible citizen, not a criminal or an anti-national person, but to bring him a protective citizen. That is the importance of this. Now comes 45 to 65. 45 to 65 is a condition that you should think of contributing to the society in the other way, material workers. You must be able to earn something and must be able to contribute. Then rest of the life, you will definitely have a happy, contented life. Now, for achieving all this, can you seek good learning theories? I'm just covering one of the learning theories that you have to study. Just a mention is only there in your MPC 2 syllabus, but I am just trying to club whatever I taught you now from 0 to 1.5, 1.5 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 12, and 12 to 45, 45 to 65 using this theory. Dr. Van Pavlov, that you will learn. Maybe many of the students who are sitting here with beard and all that would remember this particular theory. The learning theory therapy formulated when he was doing his research about gastric juices formed in the stomach, because he was asked to do a particular observational study on how gastric juices are produced when you are hungry. For example, suppose I am talking about tamarind puli. Even I'm talking about tamarind puli, you'll be watering in the mouth. So seems to be very simple, namely classical conditioning, otherwise known as one of the association theories. But no surprise, to formulate it, Dr. Van Pavlov and team took 3 decades. That is what. That is now you also have. Suppose you take a research, project. You also will have to do a project. Then, or you take a positive psychology, that is not to be done. But you should understand you have to do like a PhD research, though it is not up to the PhD, but 6 up to 1 year and all that, you have to struggle to take sampling and all that. Here, Pavlov was very sincere. Pavlov really wanted to do it. What he did? See, when he was sitting in a clinic, he saw, that is why the observational learning, he saw a dog man is giving food to the dogs at a particular time after exercise and after bathing and all that. So the dog is also naturally hungry. the dog is awaiting for the dogman to come. What he did is he himself wore the coat of the dogman and he started surfing. What did he do? Based on this, can you do the nurturing in a better way? When you study in MPC 3, it is a different thing. That you study according to the instructions of that teacher. But as far as MPC 2 is concerned, the nurturing immediately after the birth is also possible using Dr. Ivan Pavlov's theory. I'm just changing the mode only to see your faces. As requested by the students, I am just showing the full screen. So what he did was he rang a bell, and after 30 seconds and within 60 seconds, within a minute, he served food. The first day, the dog did not understand why the bell was rung. Why the bell was rung. He continued this for 9 days. After that, also he continued. But he did this with many species and many circumstances and also with people. That is why it took 30 years. So second day also he rang and served the food. Third day. By eighth day, the dog learned that ringing of the bell is an indication for it to receive the food. So on the ninth day, immediately on ringing the bell, food is not served. Immediately on ringing the bell, food is not served. The dog salivated. The dog salivated. So he established it after many years only that all behaviors are acquired. Hope you understood this. I'll come back to the screen, to the computer screen. Now this full screen, I'm not able to see your comments. See, what was the experiment? He rang a bell. After, within 1 minute or after 30 seconds, he served the food. The first day, the dog did not understand why the bell was rung. Second day, he continued. Third day, continued. By eighth day, the dog understood. Yes, ringing of the bell means I will get food. So on the ninth day, immediately on ringing the bell, the dog salivated. So he said, all behaviors are acquired, whether good, bad, desirable, undesirable, adaptive, maladaptive, or neat and tidy. Neat and tidy habit, bullying young children by a peer. So I'm coming back to see you. Hope you understood. That is, what we said, nurturing is very, very, very important. How a nurturing can be done? What is the relevance of the theory in this? So, don't you know, to prepare a child, good, desirable, see here, good, bad, desirable, undesirable, desirable. Is it not necessary for you to nurture a child with good, desirable behavior, adaptive behavior, neat and tidy? So, as against bad, undesirable, maladaptive, bully young children. That is the importance of developmental theory. How can you nature and nurture? Nature is confirmed. Nurture, how can you do it with the positive motivations and good modeling? Are you clear about this first slide? Somebody may respond. If you are not clear, tell me you are not clear. Okay.
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay. So that's what. In the nurturing of a child, right from birth, maybe after 6 months also, the child is okay. Thank you. So now you should understand in the nurturing also, all the theories play. You will be studying many theories. All these are very, very, very important. Why? Because a child, for example, the mobile behavior, mobile phone use behavior. A just born child also, now parents give mobile phone. Another thing, both the parents and relatives, everyone, the child is trying to play. Now you see on the family, all the people may be watching the mobile phone. And when the child goes to school, the parents discourage, no, no, don't look at this. You have to study. So this is the problem. You should understand whether acquisition of behavior is very, very good. I mean, good, desirable, adaptive. Adaptive must be able to adapt to the conditions. Even a first standard child also must understand the conditions of the family. Without that, if you blindly pamper and spoil the child, can't expect a good behavior in the child. So that is the importance of the developmental theory. In each year, what you have to give, the parents watch Tom and Jerry and asking the child to go and study. It won't happen. Cannot happen. Hope you are clear about the first slide. Now, the second slide, after showing it fully, I will be coming back. What he did, he, in the second experiment, maybe after 3-4 months, he rang the bell, but no food was given. Rang the bell, but no food was given. But the dog salivated. Why? The dog salivated because till yesterday, the dog was getting food on ringing of the bell. That is why the dog salivated. Next day also rang the bell, but no food was given. Slowly by end of the week, all the pictures I cannot show, no space. So by end of the week, the dog stopped salivation on listening the ringing of the bell, because now the dog has learned that ringing of the bell is no more an indication for me to receive the food. But so he established extinction. That means any such behaviors also can be extinct, stopped. But maybe this is the very most important thing you have to study. After you teach a behavior, especially the bad behavior, stopping it is almost impossible. He is telling 3 important conditions. In between all these things, you will come to know in MPC2. At that time, you must be able to remember what I taught using this theory. Effort, environmental conditioning, better cognition, especially in the case of Piaget's theory. I told you around 5 theories you have to study. One is, I think now you have seen and understood the screen. So let me come back. So when it comes to Piaget's theory, that is you have to study in development psychology. You have to study 3 theories. At that time, my effort will be less. That's why I'm clubbing this. That is, one is psychosexual theory by Freud, psychosocial theory by Erikson. Then comes Piaget's cognitive theory. Other Levinson theory, 2 more theories are there that we'll study, not a problem. But this is clearly related to stage by stage development. So in the cognitive theory of Jean Piaget, you will come to know the importance of environmental conditioning and going to the nature to study all these things. So the effort means for a small child, just imagine for a very small child, he may not take effort unless there is motivated. And when it comes to, say, who will be approaching a psychologist? When children not studying in the school, their behavior is not good, they got love affair, not acceptable. So when all these things are there, they will be approaching the psychologist. So small child may not have any desire to take effort. You have to motivate. The same thing will happen. You connect with my earlier statement, 6th to 12. That is first standard to 6th standard. all the basics of language, English, Malayalam, Hindi, and science, social, maths, everything. The child must be able to understand and practice. Suppose a child is not doing good in the 8th standard or 7th standard because of the compliance reporting by the parents. The child is brought to you. Child is brought to you. Now, when you check, you will study a lot of things. When you check, you will understand a child is not able to read properly, understand, grasp the meaning, not able to reproduce and write. My question is very simple. As teachers, you can respond to some science also. That is, will that child take an effort? Will that child take an effort to study? No, because the child do not have the skill to do it. That is why the skill acquisition must take place between 6th year and 12th year, academic and socialization. So here, environment has to be conditioned by the parents. Why? Because the parents are watching TV and asking the children to go and study. They have got cable, many channels. No, the environmental condition is very, very important. Again, better cognition. Cognition, I told you, using a cylinder picture as well as C picture. So better cognition. The child also will not have a cognition, better cognition. I mean, taking okay, I got poor marks. I must learn. Very, very few children will take an effort. That too, if the child do not have the skill that was supposed to be acquired between 6th year and 12th year, how can we expect that child to have a better cognition and effort? Are you clear about the second slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Why I am taking this effort is that you can, if you are teachers, you must be able to contribute in a better way to the students. And you can also be a good tuition teacher studying psychology even up to this year, this style. And you should also know by taking the next slide, you will be trapped that you will know how to memorize, how to reproduce better, how to prepare your own MPC, MAPC. So you'll come to know all this. Okay, thank you, my dear friends, for the comments. And see, effort and mental conditioning, better cognition are the required things. Now, the most important thing is his third, his third, sorry, I'm tired. Let me take some water. Now, his third experiment, see, all these things I'm connecting to MPC2 because I'm doing a practical approach after teaching the theory that how can you do this at any stage of development as in the practical method of doing this development theory. For example, his third experiment was same as first experiment. What was the first experiment? He rang the bell and served the food and created a behavior of salivating on ringing the bell, which he stopped. So the first one he repeated again. Now he again rang the bell. Food was served. Earlier, what you should be clear about this. Earlier, bell was ring. First experiment, bell was ring and food was served. Then after stopping, no food was served. Again, he started after stopping the behavior. After stopping the behavior, he rang the bell and served the food. Here also, the dog received the food, heard the bell, but the dog did not salivate. Why? Because on ringing the bell, maybe after receiving the food, the dog would salivate. Earlier, what was the behavior created? On ringing of the bell, salivate. This did not happen on the first day. Why? That was an old story for the dog. It was not getting recently. So after many months of trial, he did the same first trial. So dog did not salivate. Second day also rang the bell, then serve the food. Then also the dog did not salivate. It is on an average. He did with many spaces. On an average, Pavlov say, on the third day, the dog salivated. He said spontaneous recovery of a learned behavior, especially when it is with regard to a bad behavior. Let me show you the truth. The first day to acquire a behavior, it took 9 times, right? It took 9 times. Now, after stopping the behavior, it took only 3 times. That is why I said spontaneous recovery of a learned behavior, the major threat in changing the behavior. That is why the nurturing is very, very important. 6 to 12. You must not only 6 to 12, even prior to that, unnecessary pampering and spoiling would only spoil the child. So, major threat in changing the behavior is spontaneous recovery of a learned behavior. Best example, the adults you can see drinking and smoking. December 31st, many people take a decision to stop the smoking and drinking, but it comes fast. So the same thing will happen to a child. That if you make the child phone addict at the first year, second year, or till nursery, after going to school also, the child will have the same craze. Some naughty children would also bring the mobile, the class, spoil the whole class. They may see many pictures. So what will happen to the behavior? We will study this in the detail in another portion in the Erickson's theory, but you should understand the importance of nurturing with good behavior, because bad behavior, it comes back very fast. Spontaneous recovery of a learned behavior. Are you clear with this third slide?
Okay, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
clear.
sir. Yes,
That
sir.
is a major threat in changing the behavior. So always when nurturing, create good behaviors. It is applicable to you also. Now, the fourth one is that second major threat in changing the behavior is generalization. You try to justify the behavior. His experiment was that in addition to ringing of the bell, uh, timepiece, light, many stimuluses. I told you, throughout the psychology, you will come to know stimulus and response. Many stimuluses are given. And train the dog, spending many weeks and months, that trained in such a way that the dog shall salivate with every stimulus. Now, the dog is awaiting for any such stimulus to salivate. So, he said generalization. Now, you can see the example in this. Then another threat in changing the behavior. First threat is spontaneous recovery of a learned behavior. Second threat is because the behavior development, all this you will have to study at a glance in your MPC2. This is the base of this. Please try to understand. So generalization is a condition that people try to find some reason justify your behavior. For example, a student who doesn't study, blew hot and cold in anger, avoiding situation, imagining a threat under similar circumstances, etc. Or a drunkard, the adult when it comes, adult. You have to treat not alone the child. You have to treat, to treat the adult, adolescents, and grown-up people. Same thing happens. What happens? A learned behavior. It is purely learned because Pavlov's theory is criticized for genetic reasons and all that. No, his variable was behavior and learning. So you have no right to criticize him. So here you see a child. We will take from the child to adolescent. It's a very big theory. Without studying the importance of this, you cannot practice. That's why half a time I'm using for practice. With the theory, we have learned. Now, please try to understand. A small child, not able to study well. our example, okay, cannot take all the examples. One example that you face in your practice is that your some children are brought to you who are not studying well. Now, what happens? Child is not doing that. What is the reason for not studying? The lack of knowledge. There's academics and socialization. The child is expected to achieve from first standard to sixth standard. You admitted that by sixth standard, 12th year, the child should have the base. Otherwise, teenage comes, adolescence, hormone period. Child will not may go to some love affair, etc., etc., or bad behavior like smoking, etc., etc. So now you take this fourth condition of the Pavlov. A child not able to do well in the school, ridiculed by the child, ridiculed by the teachers in the school, parents and society. Society also might say, oh, no, 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 you don't be in the company of that child. It's not good. Child is getting such a stimulus. So when that child is brought to you as a psychologist, you should understand the environmental conditioning is very, very important to stop the generalization. For example, if the parents are looking at the mobile, they go for a lot of outing. I'm telling you a generalization what happens in a child. Even when a guest is coming to the house, the child is happy. Why? Because you have to study a lot of learning disability, learning issues of the children, etc. in your syllabus. So I'm telling you, forget about the disability and inability to do something. A child who is not able to do something, when frequently guests are coming, the child is happy. Today, when the guest has come, the child otherwise ignored by, please try to understand my wordings. The child otherwise ignored by the parents are now cuddled by the visitors, giving consideration to the child. The child is happy. So naturally, the child would expect some relatives to come, some friends to come to the house, because child is getting affection and consideration. All this happened when 6 to 12, okay, lack of academic and socialization, or with the same behavior of the child, poor in socialization, academics. Parents are always going for outing. Child is happy there also, or the child is taken for a tour. Child is very happy, overwhelmed, or you can go to a lot of restaurants. At least during this period, I will not be scolded. Did you understand? Are you clear?
Yes, yes, sir, clear.
Okay. Now,
Yes,
when
sir.
you come to adolescence, elder person, elder person. That's why, unless you know this, you cannot practice. Uh, an elder person came with a drinking habit. He will not come voluntarily. We told you, effort, environmental conditioning, better cognition. Normally, for a drunkard, effort may come very rarely. Environmental conditioning, always the friends are drunkards. That also is not in your hands. Now, better cognition is also not there, especially after taking one sip, he will continue to do it. That is a drunkard, the addiction. So in such a case also, the spontaneous recovery as well as generalization. That drunkard would say, you would laugh there, I'm sure, that that drunkard would say, yesterday it was a sad event, so I had to drink. Today, it's a celebration party by my friends, all are invited, I am invited, especially I have to go. Another day he would say, no, I have been taking the treat from others all these days. Today, I have to give a treat. Some people may not be even thinking about the progress of the children, but suppose a child got 5 A plus and put flex there in the roadside, they would say, no, 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 I have to treat the friends. Earlier, that person was not caring the daughter. Now the daughter got all the 5 A plus, he has to give treat. Finally, by evening, he has to do his behavior, is to continue with his behavior of drinking. This is called generalization. So again, this is coming. It's a limited time. That's why I'm not giving lot of examples. You please try to understand. You will be having very old people in your house, especially in today's generation. Say, question the hygienity of the old age people. It's also behavior studied, learned, behavior learned. So unless otherwise you learn, that is why hygienity in the school, in the home, all these things are very, very, very important. Otherwise, they will continue the same behavior in the old age. Hope you are clear about this also. Then comes the great thing of Ivan Pavlov is that this with regard to nurturing, you relate all your studies, learning. When it comes to learning of the child, you please try to relate this with, you please try to relate with this theory. Then it will be very clear to you. The learning of how the learning take place. The mother's womb, after the mother's womb, 5 conditions that you learned at the mother's womb, because sucking behavior, etc., the child learns from the mother's womb. Because I shown you one slide, that is amniotic fluid is sucked by the child to do respiration. So please try to understand all this. Then comes to 0 to 1.5. Then toilet training. Toilet training should start much earlier than 2 year and all that. If possible, after 1 year, please try. Then comes the behavior of writing, scribing, all these things. Why the child should not be unnecessarily pampered, spoiled, etc., etc., etc. All these things. Then comes to when the child is grown up, is sixth standard, child abuse, etc. How we can prevent? Because when to a guest, how to behave, how you should not go and especially female children, how the child should, why the child should not go and sit on the lap of the person coming to the house. All these things are not to threaten the parents, not to threaten the child, but this is a society. You should understand, when you study the Freudian theory, there is a justice why you should take care of all these things. He is telling in particular, we will study at that time. So when it comes to 6 to 12, you understood what is the importance of what is the importance of academics and socialization. Each and everything. Unless otherwise you are skilled, especially in today's world, without achieving the skill, there is every chance that people may go wrong. Getting an all pass in 10th standard will not fetch a good job for him or 12th standard. That all of you know as teachers, you know what is happening. So you should understand 6 to 12, the most important thing as far as academic and socialization is concerned. Then it comes to 12 to 18. What happens? 12 to 18 is the adolescence period, a pakka stages of development psychology. The 12 to 18, that means the hormonal period, where he is taking up plus two of doing plus two for what? Specialization, professional skills. Unless otherwise he has got very good skill, what will happen? Joining for engineering in self-finance without without having enough skill, what will happen? You know, all of you know. So everywhere you go, unless otherwise you acquire the skill, that stage will not happen. That is why in European nations, with regard, there is a career. Theoretically, the technical name is that 12 to 18 is a condition called identity crisis. What to do? What to do? That is why in developed nations, by 14, 15, 16 year, people go for some part-time job. So they will come to know what is career. The importance of the differentiating between job and career. It's a very, very, very important thing. Job and career. So when it comes to job and career, whether a person is going for dislike in job, then he will be monotonous after a few years. So career development is very important. So that way, what is the taste of the person? Based on that, in India we have got a lot of limitations, getting a medical education, etc., etc., a lot of things. But still, you should know the theory. You should know how a person can be better utilized as a human resource. So for that, you should know that 12 to 18 is a right period. After making a very good base of 6 to 12, a person must be trained to such a way that he must qualify best marks in all subjects and select a best plus two. Then he can go for a job. That is building of establishment of best relationships. That is, he has to naturally marry after 25 and all that. He is going to a new atmosphere, whether it's wife or husband or any spouse. So all this relationship building, establishing meaningful relationship is a very, very important thing. By 45, that person must be able to stand on his own feet. Then only he can think about e-learning by 40, 45 years to 65. We'll study this in a better way in detail. The first days, if I really wanted to give you some knowledge, in the next session also, I'll be completing another theory, and I will see that how do you practice from today onwards using the next learning theory, how it is applicable to a child as well as a student, to a student as well as a student to you, MAPC. You must be able to start doing it from that. So now we will go through, and again, adolescence we studied. After that marriage and all that, then you become old, you yourself or I myself become old. How can I contribute to society? How I will not become a burden to society and to the other relations and all that. All this also very, very important. So learning from the younger age is very important to take care of the old age. Now, what is the greatest contribution by Pavlov? So, just to brush up, I'm telling you, Pavlov. Uh, so, I connected with all the development stages with this theory. Next theory also that we will do, circumcision. All behaviors are acquired. Don't criticize Pavlov because Pavlov considered only two variable, learning and behavior. Genetics is not a variable for him. So, you not have to criticize on that background. All behaviors are acquired. So what you can do right from the childbirth, what you can do, you can think of it. So how can be stopped? But what is the difficulty in stopping? And effort, environment conditioning, better cognition. So you should understand that. Then spontaneous recovery, especially when bad behaviors are taught, there's a problem of spontaneous recovery. The bad behavior comes fast. Then comes, we try to justify our bad behavior every time. The greatest solution is that discrimination. So how can you understand this? Here also, it is very, very important how parents become model to the children and all that. A person must be able to discriminate between good and bad. Here, Pavlov is telling an a best example that what he did, he taught the dog with a lot of various stimuluses to salivate. Okay, various stimuluses to salivate. Then he brought back the dog to salivate, trained the dog. He did it with many spaces, exclusively against ringing of the bell. Exclusively against ringing of the bell. He said discrimination. A person he is capable of discriminating good and bad will be successful in the life. So the example he is pointing out is a traffic light. All of you, most of you may be driving, including females, or you have traveled in the cars and all that. Or scooter, bike, whatever. In a tight junction, tight traffic junction, in a heavy traffic. In a heavy traffic junction, when red light blows, in a heavy traffic, not a slight traffic, heavy traffic, when red light blows, nobody would cross that red light. Why? He's telling a story in one of his books, written by his school of thought, that a thief is riding a bike in full speed. A thief riding a bike in full speed where the police jeep is following him. The question is, he is facing the traffic junction, heavy traffic junction. Suppose he crossed that, what will happen? Many trucks, lorries, cars, buses are flying. When red light is seen by you to the aside space. At that time, if he cross, what will happen? That will be the end of his life. He won't cross. He may throw away his bike and ran because the police is chasing. He will never cross. So it's our duty to train the children right from the and train ourselves also. Train ourselves also. What? Discriminate between the good and bad. But what happens, my dear friends, in this society? In this society, what happens is that, you know, in the society, we are exposed to a lot of negative conditions, not able to discriminate in the younger age, teenage, etc. You yourself might be thinking, why I should have also studied better in the school or the college. Now it's the right time for you to using the study theory and all that. You can do it in a better way. Next thing, I'll be exposing you to another Skinnerian theory. So hope you are very clear about this development theory. The first class, second class, I'll be taking by 5 o'clock. Is it not? It is a information that you received, no?
Sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
see you at 5 o'clock. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hope you enjoyed the class.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,